What's up YouTube, Dale here from Zephyr War Games, bringing you, I would like to say my second favourite, but I mean, it's so difficult to judge with the amount of decks I have a lot of fun with, but I'm bringing you an Elemental Hero or Hero deck update, and this is a little bit spicier than you would have seen before. Very, very interesting. I do have a combo at the end that will show you the spice of this deck as well as we go through it, and I will explain each and every card as we go through the profile as well. Please smash that like button, hit that notification bell and subscribe. If you get this video up to at least 50 likes, I will do a full-on test hand video showing you the consistency of the deck and the routes that heroes can make. This is one of the formats where heroes can actually thrive, especially with their main, wouldn't call it a boss monster, but one of their main disrupt cards being Darklaw. Just being able to rip from the hand when your opponent searches, constantly banishing everything. It kind of gives Virtual Words a taste of their own medicine, and if Drytrons can't out this, they pretty much lose the game because they need their graveyard massively. With that out of the way, let me take you through today's profile of Elemental Heroes or General Heroes. So we play what every hero deck should play, and that is triple Elemental Hero Stratos. This just searches you a hero card, like just a hero, well, I say hero card, hero monster, sorry. So you add one hero monster. So that includes evil heroes, vision heroes, normal heroes, elemental heroes, the whole 9 yards. We then, of course, play triple vision hero Faris. I'm actually considering cutting this down. So in this particular version, you don't want to rely on Faris. Faris's full effect is a secondary engine, so you don't actually always want to open it up. If you do open it up, it makes your progression through the combo a lot more easier and less restricted, which is why I'm kept it free at the moment. We've then got double Vision Hero Increase and double Vision Hero Vion. Both of these are pretty standard and straightforward at the moment. The reason we play 2 Increase is the Faris combo dies if you open up one of the increases. And the Vion's actually more important now than it was before, because this is the target you want to search off for the Stratos, which you'll see in the combo later on. But on top of that, the idea is that you're going to go Faris into Increase, Increase into Vion, Vion send, get a poly. In this combo, we actually do Vion a lot earlier, which is why we also play the one surprise member, and that is Vision Hero Gravito. Now, you'll actually see the reason of this later on. It can just be a Vion. So if you're like, I don't want to play that, I don't want to play it at all, you can take it out. But the reason we play the Gravito is throughout the combo, we already use Vion early on. So Increase actually brings out Gravito, and Gravito gives you an additional effect by being allowed to add back. So for those of you that don't know what it does, is if this card is normal or specialed, you target one of your banished hero monsters and add it to your hand. You can tribute this card, then target 2 Vision Hero monsters in your spell and trap card zone, special summon them. Now, obviously, you're not going to be doing that, but the idea is that it just gives us, throughout the combo, Increase summons Vion. Vion is pretty much dead, so I'd rather summon something that's going to get an additional effect off. What you could arguably do is you could cut the Vion down to 1 and 1. But the reason I've kept it at 2 is because I can still do the full Vision Hero Faris chain, and I can still do the new combo as well. We've then, of course, got 2 Destiny Hero Malicious. Please come back to free, please. Nah, I would love Mali to come back to free just for heroes. It really should have been like something on there, like lock you into heroes after it's summoned. Something like that would have been cool. And then one of the most amazing cards, I love this card, is Fireflint Lady. Now this is part of the combo that I'll show you again at the end. You could even play Fireflint at 3, but you don't really want to brick on her. Now you actually end up playing 4 copies of her because you play 2 Fireflint herself, 1 Infernoble Knight Arms Duradol, and 1 Reinforcement of the Army. So you actually have a couple of ways of getting into her, which is the reason that we're only playing 2, but there's no argument against playing 3. For the Elemental Heroes, we play the 1 Neos, the 1 Shadow Mist, the 1 Solid Soldier, and the 1 Liquid. Now, you could arguably play Neos at 2, but again, with Neos, you're going to be searching it off of Isolde. And the reason you search it off of Isolde is through the combo, you need a hero that is going to be a different attribute. So you could search Liquid, you could search Solid as well if you wanted to. But 9 times out of 10, I don't know what it is, I just end up going for Honest Neos, because then it's like, if my combo gets stopped, at least my Neos can then protect. And the one thing that Neos would be very, very good at is the fact that if your opponent tries to run over a Darklaw, you can just go Neos. But you search it so consistently that your opponent, if they don't know what Neos does or just blinks when you add it, they'll be very foolish to run into it. So you do use it as just general fodder, but if you did want to bump it up, you could do. The 1 Liquid Soldier, again, this is purely for its fusion effect to draw 2 and ditch 1, and it's a revival effect going later game once you set up your graveyard. Solid Soldier is an early game, again, This doesn't pretty much replace a component of the combo, because you still need to be able to get into a Shadow Mist, a Vion, or of course a Strauss. But what this does do is this just becomes a normal summon that becomes 2. Again, you only play it at 1 because it is easy target for a lot of hand traps, and it's not the core component you need. Shadow Mist, again, we only need it at 1 in this particular build. Less so for its special summon effect, but if you do get that effect off, great. It makes life so much easier going down the combo. But at 1, all you really want to do is send it to the graveyard. Now, it does hurt a little bit if you open it up for the combo, but even then, it's not the end of the world because you still have ways to play around it. And as long as you can discard it from your hand, you're going to be able to gain the advantage later on. Then for the Destiny Heroes, we play 3, 1 Celestial, 1 Dynatag, and 1 Plasma. Now, I'm considering, after a lot of thought, actually swapping the Celestial out for Draw Hand, purely because the reason that we use Celestial is just for that discard fodder, of getting it to the graveyard using Fusion Destiny. So, that being said, Draw Hand can come back the next turn, I believe. So, the reason that's so important is it just gives you an additional fodder, it gives you an additional monster on board, and it's dark. So if you've set yourself up with a Mask Change, you've got the ability to go into Dark Claw. The reason Celestial has a little bit of an edge is throughout the combo you'll see, and I'll explain it again at the combo as well, is that you can burn through your hand, you replenish your hand throughout the combo, but then the cards you replenish your hand with are all cards that you can play during the next turn. So because you've sent your Celestial, what that will allow you to do is play the 3 cards in your hand, then banish the Celestial to draw 2 cards as well, so you do get to actually resolve it. Dynatag is actually really important for the combo because it's one of the only ways of being able to boost up our Dystopia and give it an additional 1,000 attack so that it can have its effect active during the next turn. And then Plasma is one of those old school routes of just being able to go, okay, I'm going to pretty much bring a skill drain monster on the board. So it's good for going first, it's good for going second. It does require a lot. And what this deck allows you to do is you go route 1 of the combo of making Omni Negates plus Disruptions, or you go route 2 of just going Dark Claw, banish everything, backed up by a Plasma. So it gives you the best of both worlds. And then for the final hero, we do play the 1 Evil Hero Dusted Gold. At current, there is no replacement for this. However, please keep in mind, this is supposedly, fingers crossed guys, due for a reprint in January. Hopefully it's going to get a secret rare bump in as well, which means all of the ultras should come down from the price they're sitting at. But the card is just so good, which is why it is at a high price. But if you don't have a Dusty Gold, that's fine, cut it out, and you can adapt it for something else. You won't get the same power level that this provides, but it'll still be something that you can adapt to something else. Then for the non-heroes, we do play the 1 Grappler Angler and we do play the 1 Plague Spreader Zombie. Now, part of the whole combo, the idea is that you want to try and bait out hand traps, you want to try and get to an Omni Negate, so that when you do start all of your hero combos, your opponent's Nibiru is going to be pretty much useless. And that's exactly what these 2 cards do. And the Grappler Angler, purely because it's water, actually provides a little bit more effect and consistency about getting into your Elemental Hero Absolute Zero as well. So very important on that one. Then for the spells, we've got Triple Equal. This pretty much makes any of your 1-of heroes 4-ofs, any of your 2-of heroes 5-ofs, and any of your 3-of heroes, except, of course, Faris and Mali, basically a 6-of. Then, of course, you've got Triple Mask Change. In the particular combo, you actually need to open this up to get that effect of it. But then if you do choose to focus on this, you can adapt the combo so that this is one of your go-to pieces. For the 1-off fusion spells, we've got the 1 Poly, the 1 Fusion Destiny, and the 1 Miracle Fusion. So this is obviously going to be searched, so is Poly, and this is going to be sent. So all of these, you don't actually even care about opening them because you're all going to search them out later on. And if you already open them, then your search targets change and your combo play change. But it's quite easy to adapt it. It's not like, oh no, I've now got to change my entire plan. It's actually, right, okay, cool. I can now go for my secondary option, my third option, stuff like that. Then for the final fusion spell, we do have the 1 Dark Calling to come off the back of a Dusted Gold. Then for the equips, we've got the 1 Infernoble Knight Druidol and the 1 Divine Phoenix Blade. This is actually really important because you do need to add it back to your hands. It is still easy, put to the top of the deck, bring out Plague Spreader, and then bring out Malicious to shuffle the deck. And you'll see that again in the combo. And Druidol is only there to get your Fireflint. And then for the finals, we've got the 1 Reinforcement of the Army, the 1 A Hero Lives, and the 1 Monster Reborn. Now the cards that I'm considering putting in here, and what I would highly advise is you need to adapt this deck to what you're about to face. So if I feel that I'm going to be facing a lot of virtual worlds, then I'll be finding ways of fitting in imperms and ways of purely trying to stop VFD or anything like that. Because if heroes get VFD'd, they're going to very, very struggle. The best thing that they can do is that they would have to put one of their weak monsters in attack and then drop an elemental hero Shining Neos just to clear a monster off. So that's where you would need to put in like chalices, droplets, anything that can disrupt your opponent's board. Cosmic Cyclones as well. You can also put in Nibiru's. You've got space to main deck cards. You also have the ability, if you want to put in the Gamma Engine as well. And that actually serves as a double purpose, because if you were to activate a Reinforcement of an Army, a Hero Lives, an E-Call during your turn, and it gets ashed, you can then trigger a Gamma. Gamma will then be able to summon down. And the other thing about that is if your opponent only has one VFD, and again you go Gamma, that can then go into your Savage Dragon, so it gives you easier access to the Savage Dragon, which then means the rest of your combos are pretty much protected. So Gamma is something that I'm highly considering. And in order to put Gamma in there, what you can do is you can discard, ditch your Monster Reborn. You can ditch a Dusty Golden Dark Calling if you don't have it. You can cut out Celestial again, or your Plasma if you're going, because Plasma is really only great going first. It's okay going second, but you want it going first. So if you feel that you're going to be made to go second, or you're not feeling the dice roll, that's when you adapt to go, right, okay, Gamma's going to be more useful for me, or droplets are going to be more useful for me if I have them, anything like that. That's where you adapt. There is space in the deck. You can bump it up to 42 cards without issue because you search a lot, and there's a lot of deck thinning throughout the deck. Moving on to the extra deck, we'll start off with the Link Monsters, and then we'll go on to the Synchros, and then we'll go on to the Fusion. So, with the Link Monsters, of course, we do play a lot of Link 2s. So we play the one Crush Heap, very important in the combo, alongside your Isolde, your Predaplant Verte Anaconda, and your Crystron Halley Firebrax, alongside your extra hero Cross Crusader. You go through all 5 of these Link 2s through the combo, each of them providing you different aspects and different ways of getting into certain elements of the deck that you need. So Isolde, special summons out the Tuner to get into Halley Firebrax. Halley Firebrax special summons out Plague Spreader to get you into your Synchro. Crush Heap brings back Stratos to get you a hero piece that you might be missing, and then has the ability to set up your Synchro plays as well. Verte Anaconda, in a previous version I have seen people can play Red Eyes Dragoon, but if you do that, you actually null and void your entire Faris plays, which I don't think is worth it, because I think it actually gains you more resource. And in place of Dragoons and the 3 bricks that you would ultimately have to play, you actually just set yourself up with a very, very nice pop and setting up your graveyard as well. And then the Cross Crusader, again, allows you to fuel your hero combos after you've done all of the effects of the other Link 2s. For the Synchro, we do play the one and only Savage Dragon. It is the best level 8 right now. If you wanted to be a little bit spicy, as I mentioned at the start, instead of playing Anki and instead of playing Savage, you would play Macabre and Mud Dragon. So the reason you would do this is throughout the combo, the same combo gets you into the same route. All it means is you save your Mali. So the Mali is used with Cross Heap to make Verte Anaconda, rather than Stratos and Cross Heap to make Verte Anaconda. But the idea is you'd use Plague Spreader plus Stratos to make Mud Dragon. Mud Dragon would make itself Alistair the Invoker and fuse with your Sunriser. But I actually like leaving Sunriser on the board, which is why I've chosen not to go with that. The only reason you'd go with the Macabre version over the Savage version is if you actually want to clear the board, clear the card that you negate off. But it's the sacrifice of the discard plus the banish, or just the general negate. And sometimes the general negate is good enough, because under Dark Claw it's going to get banished anyway, but the general negate might work. So you need to adapt it to what you're going to be facing and what you feel is going to be more effective for you as well. So that was the options. Now we go on to the Hero Fusions. So for the Hero Fusions, we'll start off with, of course, your Evil Hero Malicious Bane. This is just your game winner, your boss monster. You don't make it in the combo, but you do make it later on as well. But alongside your boss monster, you can also make Vision Hero Trinity. So if you do decide to save the Miracle Fusion, you can actually make Trinity instead of your Absolute. Speaking of Absolute, of course we play Absolute and Acid combo, because this combo together is just nuts. So being able to go Absolute and then mass change Absolute into Acid to nuke front row and back row is beautiful, especially in certain formats as well. Now, it's not always so great unless you've got a Dark Lord on board, because if you've got a Dark Lord on board, you do this combo against a Zuel Lich, or you do this combo against a Virtual World, it's pretty much game. They'll pretty much scoop from that point on. It's a very specific combo, but if you do resolve it, it pretty much wins you the game. And then, of course, for the final elemental hero, we do have the one elemental hero Sunriser. Now, a lot of people actually forget his secondary effect, which is beautiful. So all hero monsters you control gain 200 for each different attribute. So that is must be featured on monsters you control gain 200 attack for each different attribute you control. So including your Verti Anaconda, including everything else. When someone goes, right, okay, I'm just going to smash over your Verti Anaconda for 500, and I'm going to attack it with something that's 3,000, you go, no, it's got like, I've got a light, I've got a water, I've got a dark on board. It's like up another 600 to 11, so you take much less damage. And then, of course, its secondary effect is when an attack is declared involving another hero monster you control, you can target one card on the field and destroy it. So if your opponent foolishly goes to attack any of your other hero monsters, like a Dark Claw, you just go, okay, pop it, done, dusted. And then, of course, you've got your Destiny Hero Dystopia. This is your Disruptor card. So this card ends your combo as well. And the idea is that when its attack is higher than its original attack, you can quick effect, target a card on the field and destroy it. So nice to deal with back row, front row, the whole 9 yards. And then, of course, we've got the Beaut, the Beast, the master of it all. And that is Dark Claw and the one Anki. Now, like I said, if you wanted to play the Macabre engine, you take the Anki out. But Dark Claw is your Mac Daddy. The only issue with Dark Claw is that he's just 2400. If it was anything stronger, it would be broken. Like, the fact that it just banishes all cards your opponent controls that are sent from the field to the graveyard. I think it's from anywhere, actually. And then the fact that if they add a card from their deck to the hand, you can pretty much use his effect to rip one from the hand and banish it. So, and most cards, most decks right now are consistently searching. There's a lot of decks that Dark Claw just wins against. Like Dinos, if they can't play up their graveyard, they lose. Drytrons, if they can't play their graveyard, they lose. Virtual Worlds, if they can't play the graveyard and set up a trap, they will lose. There's a lot that Dark Claw does for you, so do not underestimate him, do not undervalue him. He is like, as every hero player will say, one of the best extra deck monsters, if not one of the best fusion monsters ever made, in my opinion. Now, it would be the best fusion monster ever made if it was generic and it was easy to get out. But it's not, because if that was the case, it would be blooming busted. Anyway, that is it for the profile, guys. I hope you like this. Now to show you the very, very spicy 2-card combo. Right, so now it's time for the combo. Now, the combo is incredibly consistent in the deck purely because you have multiple ways of getting to the components you need. So the core components you need is an Elemental Hero Stratos and a Fire Flint Lady. Then, of course, you need any hero, absolutely any hero in your deck that can be used as discard fodder. Now, if it is one of the components that we go through throughout the rest of the combo, then that's absolutely fine because it just means that your search targets are different. But any hero that can be discarded is absolutely fine. Now, you actually play 4 copies of this version of Fireflint because you then also play an Infernoble Arms Duradol and you do play a Reinforcement of the Army. Technically, this can be replaced as well by a Hero Lives, because as long as you get that hero monster on the board, the second component, you're good to go. The Stratos can also be searched out by Reinforcement of the Army, but it can also be searched out by Emergency Call, so technically you play 7 copies of Stratos as well. Technically 8 if you include a Hero Lives. We're going to do it with the base minimum of what we've opened, which is quite simply this in hand. So you've got your Elemental Hero Stratos, you've got your Fireflint Lady, and you've got any hero that can be discarded. Now, obviously, depending on the type of hero, will provide you different bonuses later on in the combo, but we're just going to act as if it is any hero, so just a general vanilla hero. Then what we're going to do is normal summon a Stratos. Stratos' effect will go off to search you out a hero from the deck. And what you want to do is go for your Vision Hero Vion. Now, depending on what you're facing, you can go more direct and a little bit more simple and just go straight for your Shadow Mist, because then you'll special summon out your Shadow Mist and you'll get yourself your Mask Change. But in this combo, this is very, very different. The idea is that we're going to be setting up a couple of Omni Negates and Disruptions, and then we're going to be able to replenish our hand as well. So what you're going to do here is you're going to special summon down your Fireflint, you're going to tribute the Fireflint to special summon out the Vion that you've just searched off of your Stratos. You're then going to use Vion's effect to send a Shadow Mist from your deck to the graveyard, triggering Shadow Mist's effect to get you a hero. Now again, what you want to be going for on this one is your Malicious. I know very rarely you actually want to add Malicious, but it does come in handy later on. You then use the second effect of Vision Hero Vion by banishing your Shadow Mist to search you a Polymerization. Again, very important, these components. Then what you're going to do is you're going to link the Vision Hero Vion and your Elemental Hero Stratos together. And you're going to go straight into, of course, your, wherever she is, your Isolde Two Tails of the Noble Knights. You're then going to use Isolde's first effect, important that you don't forget this, and you're going to add any hero that is not a dark. Now, the first one that you kind of want to go for is you can go for Solid Soldier, but usually what you can go for is Neos as well. It depends on how you want to end your board and what you're facing. Sometimes Neos can be nice to keep in the hand, but you are going to be using this as polymerization material later on. You're then going to use the second effect of Isolde, sending from your deck to the graveyard the Divine Sword Phoenix Blade. Again, important that it's Phoenix Blade that gets sent because you actually need to add this back to your hand in order to put it to the top of the deck later on. Isolde will then special from your deck your Grappler Angler. Now, it's actually more important that you have the Grappler Angler because this is a water tuner. And it's actually really important that it's more of a water than anything else. Now, I do see a lot of people also play, I used to play as well, the 6-Sam Shien Squire, and there is the other little level 1 warrior that is a tuner. But for this particular build, to get a little bit further at the end as well, you kind of want to go with your Grappler Angler. You're then going to link the Isolde and the Grappler Angler together, and you're going to link something into, of course, your Crystron Halifrabrax. Halifrabrax's effect is then going to go off to special summon a tuner from the deck, which is going to be your Plague Spreader Zombie. And again, very important on this, the whole reason behind this combo is that we're trying to bait out our opponent's plays. Now, obviously the idea is you need to get a Faris to the hand, so if you're very, very cautious, then your search off of Shadow Mist can be a Faris. And then if they decide to Nibiru you early, you still have plays to go further forward with. Then what you're going to do is you're going to link your Plague Spreader and you're going to link your Halifrabrax together and you're going to go into a cross sheet. Now from this point on, this is where you want to keep an eye on the sword. If you are going to banish anything straight away, banish the Isolde and banish your Firefling, because they are two cards you are definitely not going to use going further forward. So you banish those and add the sword back to the hand, just so you've guaranteed to got it and you don't forget it later on in the combo. Then what we're going to do is we're going to activate our polymerization, fusing the two heroes that we have in hand, being Malicious and, of course, Neos. Malicious is the only one that's important. The Neos, as long as it is a different attribute from Dark, still allows you to continue the plays. That is then going to allow you to summon your elemental hero Sunriser. Now always put Sunriser to the further left or the further right, because in that way it leaves you more space when you do a link summon later on in the combo. So this is going to trigger elemental hero Sunriser's effect and cross sheep. You do have the ability to chain block as well. And what you're going to do is off of cross sheep you're going to bring back your elemental hero Stratos, and off of Sunriser you're going to add your Miracleized Fusion. And again, you don't even need to use the Miracleized Fusion in the combo as we go further forward. It is just an additional option. Stratos' effect is then going to trigger, and this is where you get Faris or a hero to discard. If you've already got Faris, you choose the hero to discard. Simple as that. As long as you've got the other piece, you're good to go. Now, from this point on, it's entirely up to you on which route you want to go, because as I showed you in the profile, there are two different options. You can choose to go to Mud Dragon into Invoked Macabre, and the reason you would do that is if the discard to banish is worth more to you than the general negate. So it's whether you want to clear the card off the board or whether you just want to negate it. So if you choose to go into the Macabre play, then what you do is you bring back Plague Spreader, you synchro the Plague Spreader and the Stratos into Mud Dragon. Mud Dragon calls Alistair the Invoker, and then you use that to fuse Sunriser and itself. Now, obviously, we're not going to do that. We're going to go for the Savage play because the Savage play is a little bit more direct. So you're going to banish your Malicious. And Malicious is, of course, going to... Actually, what would be better is to summon out Plague Spreader first, because then at least you know you're not going to top deck that sword, which is quite important. So you bring back your Plague Spreader. You then use Mali's effect, banishing itself to special summon another copy of itself. I mean, if Mali was back to 3, oh... hallelujah. You then sync these two together. Now, again, it's very important that you put this either in a middle zone over here, or just as long as it's not in either of these two zones, you're good to go. Now, make sure you banish the Plague Spreader. But the other thing to remember about this as well is, if you wanted to, you do have the Mud Dragon play. So we're going to go with Savage. Savage will then use its effect to equip Halifrabrax, and that gives you 2 negates. Then from this point on, what you want to do is you want to link your Stratos and your cross sheet together, and you're going to go into a Predaplant, Verte, Anaconda, and if you put it over on the right hand side, you're going to have 2 more zones to play with. Then from this point on, it's up to you if you want to use Miracleized Fusion, but you want to be using your graveyard later on. So from this, you're then going to use Faris' effect. Faris will then discard. Now, apparently from what I've seen, it's only if you use Faris' second effect that you're locked into heroes. So if you still wanted to make other plays here and you wanted to make like a Link 2 here and then make a Link 4 with those two there, absolutely fine. That comes down to personal preference. That could be an Appaloosa. But I want to play heroes, so I'm going to be doing it the hero route. So what I'm going to be doing here is Faris's effect is then going to go off, and that is going to put increase in the spell and trap zone. I'm then going to use Increase's effect to get rid of Faris to summon out itself and trigger its effect. And now you're about to see a vision hero that you saw in the profile that you might not see in many combos, and that is Gravito. Now, the reason we go for Gravito is because we've already used Vion's effect, so there's no real bonus for us using that there. And by bringing out Gravito, we actually have the ability to add Shadow Mist back to our hand, which again is very, very important just because it gives you more hand advantage going further on. Then what you're going to do here is you're going to link the Increase and the Gravito together because they are two heroes, and you're going to go into your extra hero, Cross Crusader. Cross Crusader's effect is going to then trigger, and that is going to bring back the Malicious. You're then going to use Cross Crusader's effect there to tribute off the Malicious, and now it's down to you on where you want to go from this point on. Usually what I'll be going for is I'll be going for the Dusted Gold because again it sets me up plays for my next turn. You could go into a Plasma, you could go into a Shining Neos. It's really dependent on what you want to go for and how you want to resolve the plays further forward. Keep in mind, if you go into a Plasma, you're going to have to get rid of these two cards plus the Savage, which is pointless, or the Verte plus the Cross Crusader plus the Sunriser, and then there's no point in making the Verte. So then what you would do there is you'd actually end up your board with a Stratos plus a Cross Sheet. So it really depends on where you want to go from here. But the idea behind this is that by adding the Dusted Gold, you're good to go and you're set up for the next turn. And then you're going to trigger the Verte Anaconda's effect, paying 2,000 life points, send in Fusion of Destiny from your deck to the graveyard, send in 2 Destiny heroes, which must include Dynatag, because this is the only way you're going to give it an additional attack boost because you spun the sword back to the deck. And then you can choose to send a Plasma, or if you play the Draw Hand, or if you play Celestial, you send that. Now, Draw Hand is probably something that I'm considering putting in, because I think I'm going to resolve that a lot more than I am Celestial. However, keep in mind that with my hand here, yes, I might have 2 more additional cards to play with, but even if I only had these 3 cards, my Dusted Gold is going to go next turn, this is going to go next turn, and I can normal summon this next turn. So then I could use Celestial to draw me 2 more cards anyway. Anyway, you're going to finish off resolving the Verte Anaconda, and you're going to special summon out your Dystopia. You're then going to use Dynatag's effect in the graveyard to banish it, and then give your Dystopia an additional 1,000 attack. So now, if you wanted to, prior to all of this, what you could do is you could use the Miracleized Fusion, and you could also end your board on a Absolute Zero. So if you had a Mask Change, out of the remaining cards in your hand, what this would allow you to do is this will allow you to either trigger the Absolute to turn that into an Acid, dealing with front row and back row. You've got a pop off Dystopia, you've got a negate off a Savage. You also have the ability of Mask Changing Cross Crusader into a Dark Claw, and if you did play Draw Hand, you'd also have the ability of turning Draw Hand into a Dark Claw as well. So then your board would ultimately end up with a Sunriser protecting most of your heroes from being attacked. You would have an Absolute that could be turned into an Acid, and then you'd have a Drawer, or you could hold the Miracleized Fusion so that during your next turn, you can Miracleized Fusion, go into Absolute, link off Absolute at some point to nuke your opponent's board, and then you've got the Dusted Gold to go into Bane, and Bane will then win the game from that point on. So that is the root of the combo. It took me a lot. I took inspiration from the last combo that I did, and I was trying to figure out how I can still make it work, how I can still bait it out, how I can still get to the end goal that I wanted. So I did watch J-Hero YG, if that's the way you pronounce it. But he is on YouTube, so I do advise you to go check him out. His combos and the build of heroes was a little bit confusing to me. But I kind of took the route that they were going in and adapted it to make this for you. So obviously providing credit where credit is due. Anyway, I hope you like this combo, I hope you like the profile, and I hope it's given you a couple of ideas for your own particular build of heroes, and kind of giving you a route and shown you that heroes can still very much compete, and there is a way of playing heroes without having to run headfirst into Nibiru, and not have a way of getting back your resources. And keeping in mind that the main meta decks right now are looking at Virtual Worlds that they need their graveyard, and then they're also looking at Drytrons that definitely need their graveyard. The one big downside is, again, against Virtual Worlds, by banishing all their stuff, as long as they have the trap card on board, you're actually helping them fuel the trap card, and then trap card can then pop Dark Claw, and then you're like, cool, guess that was all near enough for nothing. Anyway, thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, share. Like I said, if you get this video up to at least 50 likes, I will do a full test hand video to show you the consistency of this deck as well. And hopefully, once we get back to physical play, I'll be able to show you physical duels with this deck as well. But for now, thanks for watching. Like, comment, subscribe, share. And as absolutely always, guys, stay safe and happy dueling.